And that's the start. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank
For
you,
you,
Ryan.
for you, sir.
Good to see
Pleasure,
you, buddy.
absolute pleasure.
Yes, sir. Hello, everybody.
All right.
How you doing?
So we've been talking a bit. It's up to you. We can put this on, or you can just keep it here. It'll be fine for an extra one. And we're here. So, folks, just so you know, I'm going to start off with a couple questions for Mr. Phillips. And then, if anyone else has any questions, we've got the microphone set up right there between the two cameras. Feel free to come on up, and we'd love to hear from you all. First, I would like to just thank you for making your way out here and spending your time with us. We spent a lot of time before you got here getting to know the crowd here, and there are a lot of Trekkies in this crowd, and there's a lot of love for Neelix, and I want to say, on behalf of me and I think for everyone here, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, where to begin? Where to begin? You know, Star Trek. What a crazy ride it is being a Trekkie and being a fan of Gene Roddenberry's vision.
Yeah.
Now, what is it for you being part of this world and seeing fans like this and the love that you get out here for everybody and people kind of conveying Roddenberry's message?
Well, I think it's great. You know, I watched the original series when I was in graduate school, so that's how I came to know Star Trek. But I really didn't know anything after that. I did a part of a Ferengi on Next Gen, and I don't ever watch myself, so I don't see the shows really. I think I've seen 3 episodes of Voyager, but I read all the scripts, so I knew what they were about. I can't. You've heard yourself on a voice recorder?
Oh, yeah, many times. It's horrifying hearing your own voice.
Well, add your body to that. But my friend Rene Aubergenois got Deep Space Nine, and he told me, I was very jealous of myself because that's a very popular show and that's so great. And then I was cast in Voyager. I think I was one of the last people they saw. They saw all these character actors in Chicago, New York, and LA, and they just couldn't find who they wanted. And then I think it was towards the very end of casting, I went in and I gave them what they wanted, I guess, and then that was it. They cast me. So, yeah.
Amazing. Now, you talked about Rene Auberger and working on Deep Space Nine. We all know Rene as playing Odo. Great character. Now, I wonder, having friends like that on the alternate series and things, was there any professional competition between the shows? Like, were you going after seeing who had the better ratings, or
No,
nothing malicious, of course.
We did have one. Renee and I had one funny moment because as they were doing the last 3 years of Deep Space, we were doing the first 3 years of Voyager, and we were right across from each other. They were on stage 17 and 18. We were on stage 11 and 12, and Renee and I did a show called Benson,
Yes.
and Renee played Clayton. And I played Pete. And one day, we're walking down, I'm walking down the alley, all dressed up in Neelix, and Renee is walking across, and he's all dressed up in Odo. And I looked at him, I said, "Hey, Clayton, the governor really is angry at you." And he said, "Shut up, Peter." And we just kept walking. And we did this exchange from Benson. Very silly.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I had another experience. I'll tell you this. This is walking down the alley on the Paramount lot, and this was, I think, my second or third year of the season. And I'd get in very early, like around 4 o'clock in the morning to get the makeup on, and my makeup was on. It was about 6:30 or 7, and it was winter, so the sun was just coming up. And I turned down this long alley between stage 16 and stage 8, and it goes on for quite a while. And as I turn the eye, I see coming from the very end another guy turning. And we get closer and closer, and finally about 15 feet from him, and I realize it's Robin Williams. And he sees me, and he goes, "Oh my God, Mr. Neelix, the chef." "Oh, these eggs are getting too big for me." He does his whole space chef routine for like a minute, and then bows and says, "I love your character, sir." And then I said, "Well," and we gave a big hug, and he turned around, he walked the other way, and I walked the other, never saw him again.
Wow.
But I read that he was the kindest guy, and he he loved to make you laugh and smile and bring you pleasure in that way. So I got this private audience with him, and I really treasure it, you know?
Right. Yeah, and that's got to be, I guess this would be my next question, almost a follow-up. Does that happen a lot to you, where you get that, where you're fanboying out, as they say?
Yeah.
Where you meet an actor or an actress, you're like, oh my God, it's you.
I did a movie called Lean on Me, and I got to work with Morgan Freeman, who I think Morgan is a tremendous actor. And Morgan Freeman is really interesting because he can only have a conversation with one person at a time, because he's so...
Right.
He's just like right into you, and somebody can come up and go, Morgan, he doesn't hear you, he's just listening to you. And then when the conversation's over, then he can turn to him. That was my experience with him. And then I've always been a big fan of Robert De Niro. And I got to do a reading of a screenplay with him last year. He wanted to have the screenplay read, so the casting director asked me to come in. So it was me and Jason Alexander and Robert De Niro sitting in this room reading a screenplay. I was like pissing my pants. And I'd met him once before on Star Trek, because the guy who did my makeup was a guy, Mike West, Mike, what the hell was his name? Thank you so much. Mike Westmore. And he had done the makeup to Raging Bull. Do you guys know that movie, Raging Bull? Yeah, and so Mike's sitting there, he says, Bobby's across the street. And I knew right away he met De Niro. I said, De Niro? He said, yeah, I'm going to go say hi to him. I said, do you mind if I come? He said, no. So we go over and we get to the thing, and this assistant director puts us in this alleyway, and they said, Bob will be here in a minute. And I had met him once before. I'd done a play in New York in 1979 called Modigliani, about the artist. And one night, Al Pacino and Bob De Niro came to see it, and they came backstage, and De Niro shook my hand. He went, nice work. Nice work. So, you know, I'm like a kid, and I was like flying. So if I ever meet him, I'll remind him of that. So anyway, he comes out into the alley, and he's not a big guy, and he gives Mike a big hug, and he says, who's this? And he says, this is Ethan Phillips. He's on Star Trek. He says, nice to meet you. And I said, you know, we met once before. And he said, where? I said, I was doing a play called Modigliani, and you came backstage and said hi. He said, yeah, Modigliani, I remember that. I said, yeah, it was at the Courtyard Playhouse. He says, yeah, the Courtyard Playhouse, right. And so then he says to me, didn't Al want to buy that script? Because Pacino wanted to buy it at one point. I said, yeah, but he never got it made. He said, yeah. So I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to have this conversation. And then this AD comes out and says, oh, Bob, they need you back on the set. I remembered every word. So he says, okay, and he's nice to meet you. And as he leaves, I go, I'm a big fan. I turned into like a 12-year-old girl. And he looked at me, he just smiled.
That's awesome. No, that's an amazing story. And I love the fact that you just casually throw out, yeah, I was at a screen reading with Jason Alexander and Bobby De Niro.
Well, Jason, I knew. Jason did a Star Trek.
Yeah, no, I remember that, yeah. He was the collector, or a collector of types.
Yeah, he was very funny. But I knew him coming up, like I knew Picardo coming up in New York as stage actors in the 70s. So a lot of those guys I got to know back then, you know. Amazing.
No, can we talk a little bit about, because we were talking beforehand before we got in here, and we're talking about all the bromances and all the different companionships that are formed over the different Star Trek series. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about Neelix's, who was Neelix's big bromance? And was it Tuvok, or was it, the Doctor?
Within character?
Yeah, within character.
It was with Tim's character.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were like oil and vinegar. Tuvix, yeah, because I was very emotional and he was very rigid emotionally. But Tim and I ended up being really good friends. I mean, we text literally 10 times a day and have been for years. Well, me and Tim's brother and his sister Angela and me, the four of us, have texts from them right now complaining about the politics in our country. So that's basically the gist of the text. But then I played in Tim's band because I play saxophone, and then Tim and I really bonded because we spent 2 years paragliding. Do you know what paragliding is?
Yeah.
Yeah, not from behind a boat. We would jump off the mountains and stuff, and we really got into that. Wow. And then he broke his ankle after 2 years, and Star Trek said, "How'd you break your ankle?" He said, "Oh, me and Phillips were paragliding." He said, what are you paragliding? This is 24th century medicine. You can't do this if anything happens to you. So he did 4 episodes where he couldn't walk around. And we stopped paragliding, which my wife was very glad about.
Yeah, I bet.
But I think that was the closest relationship I had on the show, was with Tim's character, yeah.
Right. Now, you'd mentioned earlier to us that you've maybe watched 3 episodes, but
Yeah.
you've read all the scripts.
Yeah.
How versed are you with the episodes by not watching? Like, how much
Not-
of the episodes do you know just by reading the scripts?
I know the ones that featured my character. I can talk a little bit about them, but it's not because I just don't like to watch myself. Because then I go, why did I do that? Or why couldn't I have done that? Or, oh, that was a stupid choice. That's why I do a lot of theater, because when I'm on stage, I do my own editing, my own close-ups,
Right.
and it celebrates the craft in a way that film and television doesn't. I respect film and television. It's just as difficult to do. I can talk about Jetrel and Mortal Coil and Fair Trade
Right.
and Rise and a show called Riddles. I don't remember much about that. Roxanne directed that. But it's also been almost 20 years ago.
Right.
So it's a long time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's all my questions there. Does anybody else have some questions up there? If you'd like to, just throw your hand up and we can get you right up to the microphone there. Now, I don't want you all to keep fighting like that right now. I need you all to calm down because this is a peaceful convention. But yeah, if not, I'm just going to ask the next one again, and I'm going to monopolize all your time. Fine. All right. So here we go then. So
This is a message from Tim.
So we all said live long and prosper.
Tim, I'm at a convention in Ontario, and they're all sending you best wishes.
It's amazing. We needed to get him to call in.
Hello, eh? Hello, eh? Go about your day.
So I think, and we were talking about this earlier, all of us, and we were talking about the love and about the camaraderie that all Star Trek fans seem to have together with each other. Now, we talked about it here, and I think it'd be cool for Ethan to hear some of this too. What are some of your favorite moments, though, when it comes to like maybe Neelix and Kess, Neelix and Tom Paris? We have some. What is your favorite rivalry? Like you and Paris had quite the rivalry on that show.
Yeah, but I really owe. This is something I remember. This is such trivia. I mean,
that's what I do.
But Neelix was complimented on his cooking 3 times. Once by Garrett, who asked for second helpings of something, and I forget who was with him, but I looked at him like he was an idiot. But he said, "No, it's good," and I was like smiling. And then another time, Kate complimented me on my coffee. And the third time, this is in 180 episodes. This guy's the cook. He's been complimented 3 times. The other time was this Fair Trade episode where Neelix runs into this intergalactic drug dealer. And he has to go into the fray, and he's worried, he's going to get hurt.
Right.
So he goes to see Tom Paris in the Science Lab, which is a set we had built, but we rarely used. In fact, there's a scene we shot in there that was never aired between me and Kess, where we get closure on our relationship.
Oh.
And she says, which didn't make any sense because we never knew whether it was platonic or romantic anyway. It was very unfinished. And then particularly so because they didn't even air that scene. But anyway, so Robbie's in the science lab for whatever reason, and I basically say to him, you've been in a situation where you've had to really face danger because you wanted to do the right thing, and I'm about to do that, and we talked about it. It's a short scene. And then he gives me the strength to go in and deal with this, and as I leave, he goes, "By the way, there was an Andorian sweet roots were fantastic this morning." So I'm about to go die, but I'm still wow. A third compliment in 8 years. Stupid story. But, you know, those are the little things you remember, you know.
So the moral of the story is do not try the Talaxian food.
Yeah.
There's 3 dishes that are okay.
But Robbie, you know, when we did the pilot and everything, everybody's in it. But we didn't know how much we were going to screw around. We didn't know how much people were into having fun, because some sets are really silly. And I'm a silly man, so I enjoy being silly. So, but everybody was on their best behavior. And then in the script, you know the pads we have? In the script, they're spelled P-A-D-D with 2 Ds for whatever reason. So we're shooting this film on the scene on the bridge, and Robbie, it's like the second episode, and Robbie goes, "Neelix, pass me the pad." And he pronounces the second D. And I look up at him, and he's got this twinkle in his eye. And I said, "Oh, this guy wants to have fun." And then that was it. From then on, I mean, I was mooning the captain when she'd come in. I mean, it went downhill from there.
Jeez.
All we ever did was mess around. Beltran couldn't remember any of his lines. I guess because he didn't memorize them. But he used to have them on the bottom of his coffee cup. And we'd be sitting there going, "Captain," the line would be written on the bottom of the coffee cup or on the side of the coffee cup. But he was always calling, there's a script supervisor we had named Cosmo. And if you didn't know your line, you'd go, "Cos, what's my line?" And way in the back of the stage you hear, "There's a corned beef sandwich on deck 11," or whatever the hell the line was. So, and Beltran was constantly going, "Cos, what's my line?" So I kid around that I once called him at home and got his answering machine, and it said, "Hi, this is Robert." "Cos, what's my name?" Man, Cos is following him home to help him get through the day. Interesting. Anyway, that's a stupid story, too.
No, that's an amazing story. That's a lot of fun. Come on up, right up to the microphone here.
Hey, I thought I'd start it off. Sorry, we're all very polite up here, so we don't want to be the first one to, crowd around it. I had a couple of questions, actually. The first one was, you say you watched Star Trek when you were a kid. I was wondering what your favorite Star Trek episode is, not of Voyager. And the other question I had was, you say like filming TV is a very different medium from the stage. Mm-hmm. So did you have any issues with filming something like sci-fi, particularly in the 90s, with the makeup and all the effects, and any of that going wrong when you were trying to film?
No, I've always been very comfortable with prosthetics. I've done a lot of prosthetic jobs. And it's just, it all comes down to, you just bring yourself to the part, because if you don't, and you make something up, then you're acting. So you don't want to be acting. So the only way you're not going to act is if you be yourself. So I always say, listen, the facts are fiction. The facts of all this is made up, but the emotions are real. And that's what the actor does. He plays the real emotions. And if I'm covered with rubber or not, I can still convey those emotions through my eyes and through my intent. You just got to remember to keep it a little smaller than you do on stage. The other, what was the other question?
What was your favorite?
Oh, my favorite episode. It would have to be from the original series, and it had to be the one where those hippies came on.
Of course.
Yeah, what was that called?
The Way to the End.
Yeah. I just thought that was one of the silliest things I've ever seen. I can still watch that and enjoy it. So, yeah.
I think Riker would have had a lot of fun there too. I'm just saying, had he been a little bit older.
I do. When I play that Ferengi on Next Generation, I also play a Ferengi on Enterprise. A character named Ulyss. Me and Jeff Combs and Clint Howard, and the character's name was Ulyss, and it was the same crew that shot Voyager, all the same camera people. So they put on my dressing room Useless. That's what I was called on the set. We had so much fun doing that. The Ferengi I played in Next Generation got to say the following line to Marina Sirtis: "Women do not deserve the honor of clothing." Can you believe that?
Right.
That's what I got to say. So I always thought that's the thing about acting. You get to say these things you can never say in life.
That's awesome. You had a question as well?
Yeah.
Come on up.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
One of the themes of Voyager obviously is homesickness. And I was wondering, when they
think he ever misses his quarter? Does he ever miss Talax?
Well, he doesn't go home. Yeah, in the penultimate episode, he leaves for an asteroid where a bunch of Talaxians are living. Yeah, so for him that was a chance to go home in a sense where he can join his own people, you know. So I think he got the best deal because I got a great send off. You know, that episode was terrific. I really felt emotional about that episode. And I do appear in the final episode on screen with Jerry Ryan, I think. I talked to her. But I don't know what he would have done on Earth, you know. I mean, open up McNeelix or something, you know, a restaurant or something. But he made out, he got to meet a woman he cared for and had children and everything. So it all turned out pretty good for Mr. Neelix, you know.
Now, if I could piggyback on that one, do you think that Neelix missed the Voyager crew, though? Once he went off with the other Talaxians, do you think that's something that, because they became his family over 8 years, you know?
I mean, that's what was so powerful about that episode, where, because if you watch the show, Neelix takes a long walk down the corridors until he gets to that place where Tuvok gives him that little tap with his foot. And what they did, all those people standing along the corridors, were the crew of Voyager, the crew of the film crew. So we had all the cameramen, we had all the boom operators, the costume people, the craft service people. They put them all in, and I've been working with these people for 7 years, so I was saying goodbye to everybody, not just the cast, but the whole Voyager crew. The producers were there, some of the writers. So that little walk was very emotional because, you know, we worked 16 hours a day together for 5 days a week, seven years, you know. And it was a great group of people. The cast was terrific. Yeah. All really lovely people.
This is a small group of us here from Las Vegas, Star Trek Las Vegas. We go to Vegas every year.
Oh.
And I've like 10 years in a row, and I've heard a lot of the stories you guys have told on all those panels there.
Yeah.
The practical joke stuff. If you, I don't mind hearing them all over again. I love those stories about the practical jokes. Because you guys are it sounds like a crazy.
Yeah, we did some pretty intense stuff. I think that the crew liked us because we added overtime to them. But you know, what comes to mind? I mean, I forget a lot of them because it's been so long ago. The one that just popped in my mind is the stupidest one. One day, Robbie was messing around, and it was getting late. It was like 1 a.m, and he had apparently earlier had complained that it was going on too long, but now he was messing around. So the director said, "Come on, Robbie, you're the one who wants to go home," in a kind of aggressive, mean way. And directors are not supposed to talk to the featured cast in that tone of voice. So we were all a little taken aback. But for the next 3 years, we did this bit. We'd go, "Come on, Robbie, you're the one who wants to bleach his nipples." It didn't matter what we would say. "Come on, Robbie, you're the one with the flannel lunchbook." You know, we just say these strange things that made no sense. "Come on, Robbie, you're the one in love with a rubber dwarf." And we just do it over and over again, and it always made us laugh. So that was the thing I just thought of. So I hadn't thought about it. You ever heard that?
No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever shared that before.
We got an exclusive here, Hamilton.
It was sort of answered earlier, so I was just asking about the makeup, how long it took, and what it was like.
What it was like wearing the makeup?
Yeah, what was the process like?
It's like if you have a mattress glued to your head. Kind of what it's like. It's a beautiful makeup. It was interesting. I'm blind as a bat, and so when it was first put on, I didn't have contacts in or anything like that. And after it was put on and I put in the yellow contacts, I looked in the mirror and I saw this character. It was like, that's what I'm going to look like. Wow. It originally had, he has yellow temples, but the first time it was made, they were red, and we have to go to Rick Berman to get everything approved, and he said, "Oh, it looks like he's not healthy. It looks like he's got a fever. Make them a different color." And then the little slit in the nose was an accident that was not supposed to happen, and it was great because I could use it for credit cards. I always thought, so terrible joke.
I'll come to you next. I got you guys in the back right there.
One of my favorite episodes was Mortal Coil. I thought thought that it was pretty cool that it was both serious but also just kind of an interesting episode. Whenever you did an episode like that, did the tone get more serious, like you're dealing with like something existential like that?
No. we screwed around just as much. But that is my favorite episode of every one I've done because of it's exactly, you use the word existential, where we have no idea what comes after this. And I mean, we could either not know a thing, or the secrets of the universe could be revealed to us, and that kind of knowledge would sustain us for eternity, just knowing what was before time and everything. But the fact that Beltran's character is able to remind Neelix that we're here to do the right thing and be kind to one another, and that's really all that matters. That makes me emotional, but that's why we're here. And it doesn't matter if there's going to be a reward, because we're all fighting a great battle. You know?
Yeah, I like that.
So be kind.
Two more we had there. We had one in the back and one in the front, so... and then we'll get the third one there. So go there, there,
Sorry,
and
I
there.
get very emotional about stuff like that.
So you said you were a big fan of the original series. Was there any characters on that show that really inspired your character on Voyager?
I don't think so, no. No. Good answer.
Great answer. We got you? Yep. Come on up, number one.
First off, somebody asked for ship security. Well, my question is, well, you have very specific voice, especially for on Star Trek. It was on television. I just got the voice. I'm pretty sure it was. Did you sacrifice yourself to Genghis Khan in the shadow?
Yes. Yeah. I sacrificed myself to Genghis Khan, yeah. That's my ride. Guys, it's been great. No, I have a story about everything I've done, and my story about the shadow is, do you know Jonathan Winters?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, well, he was on that, and he was a guy who is a very funny man, obviously. And when I came into makeup that day, he was there, and I went, "Oh my God, it's so wonderful to meet you." And he starts doing this whole bit for me, a comedy routine, but he won't stop. And finally, the makeup girl has to say, "You know, come on, he got to makeup." And he follows me over to makeup, and he continues the bit. It's just like weird. It was funny, but still. So then we're doing my scene, and the first scene is I end up shooting myself to this. I don't know. I didn't read the script, but I just know I shot myself. And then I lie on the ground. And the next scene, I'm in a pile. I'm in a pool of blood, and it's a very expensive scene. We shot it on the back of a loading bay in downtown LA. We had like 100 extras who were all choreographed to move around a particular way. We had a lot of people in the scene. It was a costly scene, and it was a simple scene. I'm laying on the ground. Jonathan Winters' character comes in and says, "Wrap him up and get him down to the morgue. We're going to take care of this back at the station." Something like that. So we get it all set up. We're ready to go. Action. Jonathan Winters walks in and goes, "I know this man. He was my lover for many years." Everybody breaks out laughing. Ha! Cut. Oh, he's starting. Do it again. They set the whole damn thing. I'm lying there. Action. Jonathan Winters. This mother owes me $15. I swear to God, he's dead now. How am I going to get this money? Everybody laughed. Well, he keeps doing this. And finally, it's getting like ridiculous. So they talk him into cutting it back. But that's the story. I remember that. And the other story I remember about that, it's funny. I had auditioned for this movie that the same director had done with Alec Baldwin. And I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was one scene, and I auditioned for the character at a 7-Eleven who's getting robbed. And it was a serious scene, and my character is supposed to be very scared. And they come in with the gun and stuff, and I'm shaking, and I give them the money. And I thought I did the greatest job on this, and I didn't get the part. And that happens that happens 99% of the time. You go and you kick it out of you never hear again. But the stage, the first AD for this shadow comes up. He says, "I know you. You auditioned for what other guy's name? Ray's last movie with Alec Baldwin." I said, "Yeah." I said, "You auditioned for the 7-Eleven guy?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "We have the audition tapes. I still have them with me on DVD." So he had the 8 actors who auditioned for that role, myself and 7 other actors. you never get to see your audition, and you never get to see your competition. But he took me into his office, and I watched the DVD reels of everybody auditioned for that 7-Eleven role. And I knew who got it. I could tell at the end. I said, I was good, but there was one guy who was great, a guy named Henry Stram. And I went, he said, who do you think? I said, Henry, and Henry got it. And a couple of years later, I run into this guy. I'm introduced to Henry. And I go, you mother... Beat me at that role. I said, you were tremendous, and I didn't even see the movie. I just saw your audition. He was like, how did you see my audition?
That's amazing.
Those are the two stories connected with the shadow, for whatever it's worth.
That's awesome. I wanted to give you the last one. It's just we have to get the next panel in here.
Sure.
I do apologize.
I'll be quick to add.
Sure.
How much input did you have on Neelix's character, and did the writers ever come to give you a 98%? No, I wouldn't do that.
No, you know, what I did at the audition, which was bring myself in more or less every way I can, that's what they want. They want you. If they wanted something else, they would have cast that. They wanted a Scottish guy with a limp. They'd actually get a Scottish actor who has a bad leg. In TV, they want it to be you. I mean, that's not to say you can't be a chameleon. I'm doing a TV show now in England. We just shot 10 episodes of it, where I play, it's with Hugh Laurie. It's called Avenue 5. It's going to be a wonderful show. It's going to come out in January. But I play an astronaut, an ex-astronaut who's a sexaholic, an alcoholic, you know, but it's me. You know, it's still me. Again, the facts are fake, but the emotions are real. That's the secret of acting.
Was there like any aspect of Neelix's character that became you, and you said like, no,
No, they just threw me the script and let it go. Sometimes a director might go, tone it down a little, or can you, you know, but they rarely, that's why they spend so much time casting. The secret of all that stuff is casting. Get the actor, and they also look at your previous work. Can this guy take 16 hours a day for 17 years? Will he show up on time? Will he, you know, reliable? And then they look back at all the other work you've done, and they go, oh yeah, he's done this and that, and he's done 300 different TV shows, he's going to be okay. Then they let you have it. If you go way off the path, you know, but nobody did.
I think it's safe to say that they definitely cast the right person for Neelix.
I think so. It would have gone completely different.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, keep the applause going. Let's thank Mr. Ethan Phillips, Neelix, everyone's favorite culinary chef.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Oh, sure.